You don't want to waste another year doing something that is meh. Because one of the top 5 regrets of the dying is I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, and not the life others expected of me. 3 years ago, I uploaded a video called, because one of the top 5 regrets of the dying is I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, and not the life.
Alright, let's go. Let's do this.
The 2 most important days in your life are the day you are born and the day you find out why. No cap for real. I put a bit of a modern twist on this quote so that I own it. The point is, the sooner you find what you love, what your unique gifts are, and what you're made for on this planet, your purpose, you might call it, the better. The main topic of this podcast is for you if you're currently not enjoying what you're doing for a living and you want to find something you love. Maybe you already found it, but you...
So, I'm so boring to do all this stuff by myself. That's why I'm gonna stream it. Somebody gonna watch this or not, I don't know. Let's go.
want to find your unique superpowers to maximize your potential and output, or you just struggle to get to work because of a lack of motivation, because there's just not enough juice and there's a higher calling or a purpose missing behind it all. Personally, it took me years of research, deep reflection, and just trying things out to figure this out for myself. And looking back at how fast life flies by, you don't want to waste another year doing something that is meh. Because one of the top 5 regrets of the dying is I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. 3 years ago, I uploaded a video called Why You Can't Find Your Passion. 1 million people saw it, and the feedback was astonishing, where people said it finally clicked for them.
Astonishing, I forget what it means.
Astonishing.
Okay.
This is the expanded version on that. And even if you already have a business or career or job that you love, finding your superpower alone and honing that, getting clear on that, is a game changer because it puts everything else you do on steroids. It'll make sense when you watch the episode. So put on your seatbelts. Let's get into it. I think for me, the pivotal point was when I sold my previous business, and I really hated that business.
Pivotal.
Pivotal.
Pivotal. Này nó giống như là lúc đầu thì tưởng là pivot nhưng mà không. Pivotal. Nó giống như cái từ gì ta? Cái từ gì? Nhớ đâu. Pivotal point.
When I sold my previous business, and I really hated that business. I went through a bit of an identity crisis for a whole year because I was sitting on this cash. I wanted to start something new immediately, but anything I tried, I didn't enjoy. I was just like, this sucks. I'm not motivated to do anything, and I'm not good at it, but I know that what I did previously, I didn't enjoy. So what should I do? And it got to the point where I remember listening to Gary Vee. You can think about Gary Vee whatever you want. I think he makes some great points. As much as, you know, people experiencing him as rambling and just repeating the same things over and over again. But he talks about born entrepreneurs and repeating that as much as, you know, people experiencing him as
Rambling
and just repeating the same things over and over again. But he talks about born entrepreneurs and wannabe entrepreneurs. Right? And I think this may upset some people, but I think there are born entrepreneurs, meaning those are people who just love the game of business for the sake of business. They could start any business, whether it's an agency, whether it's a tech business, whether it's whatever, but they just love the building of it, right? And I think these are people that usually tell you, oh, like, don't follow your passion, just start a business. And, well, business is your passion. Personally, I could not build a business where I don't feel passionate about the topic. So I got to a point where I was like, am I actually an entrepreneur? And I questioned myself. And that was the identity that I had built up over the year and a half that I built that business and then ended up selling it. And it felt like I was going insane because what should I do then? And that's when I went into this whole period of diving into, okay, who am I? How do I find what I'm here for on this planet, what I'm really good at, and then finding my path in life? And I can confidently say I found the thing, and it's been one of the best things I've ever done. Just going through that period. And it was tough. But for anyone right now who's listening to this, who's in that period, who's in an identity crisis, maybe a quarter life crisis, I think a lot of people in their 20s go through it. Maybe you just also quit a certain business or a certain industry and you want to get into a new one. You're exactly where you need to be. And if you have an identity crisis right now and you're not sure what to do and you're not sure what to believe about yourself anymore, that means change is coming. Something good is about to happen. I think what's
Something good about to happen, or you're gonna spend like most of the time doubting yourself. Meanwhile you're not doing anything because being procrastination. Actually, I've been procrastinating for like 4 years by now. I tried to find this, but come to stay over this rest, periods over the rest. So I stopped finding it, and now since I have a time, I have free time, ton of free time, and I wanna find this again. I don't know. It seems like people around me want me to grow thing. I need to make money. Yes, I'm short of money, of course, but I think now I am ready to find the passion and purpose in my life. Yeah, I think so.
holding people back from finding their thing, their passion, their unique skills, is usually some misconceptions that they have that make it really hard to find it. I think a lot of people say that in your 20s, that's the time to figure out what you want to do in life. You just try a bunch of stuff, you just graduate college, or like me, you just didn't go to college and you just went straight into whatever, and you try a bunch of stuff and you figure out, okay, I enjoyed this, I didn't enjoy that, and you hop around, you shop around, and then your 30s are to do the thing that ideally you found by then, and then you get really good at it, but in your 40s, you make a contribution to that field, and then maybe in your 60s and later in life, you give back to humanity, to the people who come next. And I think that's true. I think the 20s are there to try things out. And I think a common misconception is that once you find that thing, that you're done. Like once you find your passion, it's like this one thing, and then I'm like, okay, I've made it. This is it. What I found is that it moves in cycles. And yes, I did find a thing that I knew I was going to focus on for the next decades, which is yapping online and hearing myself talk, because I like that. And at the same time, every 4 or 5 years, I think you hit a point where you're like, what's next? Because there's some shift coming. And Tim Ferriss actually talked about this. I remember going through this phase where I was researching, studying, and reflecting. And Tim Ferriss said that every 4 to 6 years, he has a period where he's like, what now? What do I want to do? What's next? And he has to refine his next path, right? There's actually a great video by this channel called actualize.org. And the video is called...
Okay, I might be a psychologist, but I might doubt their idea. But one thing I can never doubt is they have experience. They maybe not have psychologist knowledge, which is I think is hàng lâm. Tiếng Anh là gì? Sinh sản luôn được cái chế. Okay, chế tiếng Anh là gì ta? Has spouse, has loud, yeah. Do you know has loud like have the female, the male also, they also fuck on our head. Like the male gonna climb up to the female body. What that call? What I wanna do? I think I'm gonna stream till 10:30, which is 1 hour, and then I'm gonna stop. And next day, I'm gonna stream in. No, I don't think I can stream next day. That's gonna stream in Wednesday. In that stream, I'm gonna try to find a strategy to so I can consistently doing it. I don't know what it is, but I'm gonna try. There's one thing that I've been doing and I stopped since I feel like it's not work for me anymore. It's like checking in, checking out. I check in every day, like in the morning, to see what I did the thing before and when it's work for me or not. Basically, all of that process not working for me. After a month, 2 3 months trying it, so I'm gonna stop it and gonna replay with this new strategy, or update my diary again. Oh, it's academic. Academic. Hang on. Academic to
Theoretical.
theoretical. This knowledge to academic. Um, yes, I think that's the way to say it. Cause let's say about psychology, as well as psychologist knowledge is kind of too economic. It's not practical. And one thing I care is how much I can help my client, and how much I can help myself with practical skill. That's what I care about. I'm not saying academic knowledge is not good. It's just sometimes too much, and it's some sort of, I know, distracting you. Let's say I know that I'm not an academic person. I'm good with doing research. Yeah, but too much academic gonna make myself traveling it, and most of the time all of that knowledge gonna go to, I don't know where it's go to, but not go into my head. It's going to my head and then went right out of the ear. So that's what happening with psychologists. Um, Really much psychologists try to help other people, but some sort of the case that they trying their best, learn a lot of knowledge, and then after all, the one that choose to change on ours is the patient, or the people that I'm trying to do therapy with them, and not me. So most of the time, a lot of time, like you're trying to come up with a lot of knowledge, you learn a lot of things, and then after all, they not be, they're not even better. So okay, better the trust. Well, Leon, he seemed like a guy that uh, take a lot of time to reflect on himself and using some sort of psychology technique. I think so, since he's had bunch of money, he has a business, and right now he's working with a therapist. I forgot what technique that therapist using right now, but yeah, he's been working with this therapist on some of his content. I think so. Not even for his clients. Mm, yeah, so this might be trustworthy to see what this guy yapping about.
Life unfolds in chapters and phases. And reflecting, and Tim Ferriss said that every 4 to 6 years, he has a period where he's like, what now? What do I want to do? What's next? And he has to refine his next path, right? There's actually a great video by this channel called actualize.org. And the video is called Life Unfolds in Chapters and Phases. It's a beautiful video where he breaks down that, yeah, our life just moves in these different chapters that are basically 4 chapters. The first one is limbo. That's when you're unsure, you're developing a compelling vision. Maybe that's after high school, after college, or, right before you start your business. You're just like, I want to do something. I don't know what, I'm unsure. The second phase is you're starting, which is when you engage in what you want to do and you start building momentum, which is actually where we're at right now. we're just starting the podcast. Number 3 is the middle. This is the peak actualized success. This is when things are going really well. You're hitting a stride, you're doubling down on mastery, and that's where you really start seeing the rewards. And number 4 is the end, when you're just finishing up, you're letting go, and there's depletion. You're hitting a stride, you're doubling down
stride,
on mastery. The peak actualized success. This is when things are going really well. You're hitting a stride, things are going really well.
stride,
Eh. Ui. Tom seems to take in thing in stride. Talking thing in stride. Ah. Bước tiến lớn, tiến bộ. Okay.
You're hitting a stride, you're double. 3 is the middle. This is the peak actualized success. This is when things are going really well. You're hitting a stride. Number 3 is the middle. This is the peak actualized success. This is when things are going really well. You're hitting a stride, you're doubling down on mastery, and that's where you really start seeing the rewards. And number 4 is the end, when you're just finishing up, you're letting go, and there's depletion. There's almost a satiation where you're like, I want to keep doing this. Yes, it's paying well. Go, and there's depletion. There's almost a satiation.
satiation, depletion,
where you're like, I want to keep doing this. Yashing up, seeing the rewards. And number 4 is the end, when you're just finishing up, you're letting go, and there's depletion. There's almost a satiation where you're like, I want to keep doing this. Yes, it's paying well. Yes, it's going well, and like, I want to keep doing it. Finishing up, you're letting go, and there's depletion.
There's depletion. It's
almost a satiation where
satiation.
And number 4 is the end, when you're just finishing up, you're letting go, and there's depletion.
There's depletion.
Almost a satiation
There's almost saturation.
where you're like, I want to keep doing this. Yes, it's paying well. Yes, it's going well, and you go back into the first phase, which is limbo, where you start developing a compelling vision again. So I just went through this journey again with content, and it was pretty much exactly 4 years. After selling my business, took me a while. Then I found YouTube after a bunch of trials and errors, which I want to cover later on how I actually did that, because there is a process. And then I set a compelling vision by saying, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel. I'm going to do this. And then over the last 4 years I did that,
Compelling vision là tầm nhìn Kết hợp à?
compelling,
Ôi vãi, nãy giờ có từ compel nên là kết hợp. Còn cái gì ta? Cái mà kết hợp là nó là cũng là com gì đó. Không phải là combination. Cái đi.
saying, hey, I'm going to start a YouTube channel, I'm going to do this. And over the last 4 years, I did that, had some success, and I hit an end with the previous videos, the high production videos where I was like, I can't keep doing this. And the compelling vision, now phase 1, the limbo, was I think I'm going to do a podcast, and now we're in stage 2. So that's, I think, the first misconception is that this journey keeps going. And I think you keep narrowing down what you actually like, what your thing is. And every few years, as you're making changes, as you're making adjustments, you get closer to the thing that you want to do. Like I got a haircut yesterday and I talked to my barber about it, and he was in cybersecurity. Then he became a barber. And while he was in cybersecurity, he just knew I do enjoy this because he was facing clients, right? He was interacting with clients. He was in sales. He was making sure the clients were having success. And he liked that part of it, but he was missing something. He was missing a creative, crafty element. And then he ended that chapter and became a barber, which is also, again, customer facing. He's interacting with clients, but there's this creativity element added to it. And that's something that I've noticed too, is that you just keep narrowing it down. You keep getting closer to the thing you actually want to do. So for example, there was so much video editing involved in previous videos where I'm like, that's not my thing. That's not the thing that I want to do. And so podcasting allows us to just keep it running and delete that side of it, right? And do more of the things that give the most energy, that are the most energy rich and the most exciting. And minimize the things that were the most draining, which is what editing was. What chapter are you in right now?
I was going to flip it back to stage 4, so the 4th one. And there seems to be, like, maybe each stage takes a year or so. That's just what I'm hearing. And let's say you get to stage 4, and there's a gap between stage 4 and going back to stage 1 that you started to put into my head. When you were figuring out, okay, I have this business, you didn't know it was going to be content creation. You didn't know it was going to be YouTube. You said you did a lot of trial and error. I was curious, like, what that gap is like a in between. It's like a bridge to loop back. Like, what does that look like?
I think it's seamless, to be honest. 4 and 1. Because I think
This is your brain when you're struggling to focus. And this is your brain when you're in the zone. But getting
as you are getting,
What does that look like?
I think it's seamless, to be honest. 4 and
Seamless.
seamless,
Seamless.
To loop back. Like, what does that look like?
I think it's seamless, to be honest. 4 and 1. Because I think as you are getting satiated with the previous thing, you start dreaming about. Because I think as you are getting satiated with the previous thing, you start dreaming about. If only, if only I didn't have to do so much editing. If only there was a creative element to this whole part. Because he was a musician, my barber. He was a musician before, got into cybersecurity, and then he wanted to take a piece of the music chapter in his life into the next chapter, right? And so I think it's a seamless transition. They are overlapping, where you're like, if only I don't like. I mean, it's good, but I just feel like I want to interact with people more. I feel like I want to get more out there. I want to spend less time in front of the computer screen and edit, and just more, like, be able to express more. And it starts brewing over time. And I think people
Brewing. Fuck. Brew. He's trying to make coffee while he's brewing.
brewing,
Like brew beer. What? It's like storm trouble brewing, war brewing, like stack on after another.
And it's more like
What it is, coffee shop.
Brewing.
Yes, coffee.
be able to, I want to get more out there. I want to spend less time in front of the computer screen and edit and just more, like be able to express more. And it starts brewing over time. And I think people just know, like, you can just tell what's currently missing in what you're currently doing. And then the next phase is, I think, sometimes just finding a way to add that in so that you meet that need as well. Which is, yeah, it's a luxury. We're so lucky we live in the 21st century. We can do so much stuff. The next misconception.
Find is something that's missing on what currently you're doing and then just adding it. What? Well, currently, if I want to do psychology, it's gonna be like, you cannot giving the my the good don't know that if the class is done with the problem or not. I think there's no way. No way you're gonna know.
Conception
Because
that I see is very common
diversity, the problem.
in the 21st century. We can do so much stuff. The next misconception that I see is very common is that if we can do so much stuff. The next misconception that I see is very common is that if you love what you do, you don't have to work a single day in your life. It's like this whole I'm on vacation every single day because I love my occupation. It's not that, because I think the thinking behind it is that if you really loved it, you wouldn't need discipline. Because I remember while I was trying to figure out it is that if you really loved it, you wouldn't need it's not that, because I think the thinking behind it is that if you really loved it, you wouldn't need discipline. Because I remember while I was trying to figure out my next thing was that I started certain projects and I needed discipline. I needed some motivation. It wasn't that exciting. There were certain parts of it where I was like, oh, this is annoying. I needed some motivation. It wasn't that exciting. There were certain parts of it where I was like, oh, this is annoying. This is probably not my passion. Because if it was my passion, I wouldn't have to push myself, right? But I think there will always be work or procrastination involved. Like, think about any writer. Like, you probably heard of the War of Art from Stephen Pressfield, where he talks about resistance and how every writer every day faces resistance. With that thinking, everyone who's born to be a writer, who has a skill and a natural talent there and actually loves writing, with that belief, with that misconception, they would think, oh, it's not my passion because I have to push myself to sit down and write. It's a funny quote that Ryan Holiday said is, nobody wants to write, everyone wants to have written. And yeah, it kind of to write, everyone wants to have written.
Nobody wants to write and to want to have written.
And Ryan Holiday said is, nobody wants to write, everyone wants to have written.
It's gotta be happy breathing.
And yeah, it kind of bursts that little fantasy bubble that I think is holding people.
Be happy breathing. What? Have been breathing.
Yeah, it kind of bursts that little fantasy bubble that I think is holding people back from digging into things that, are difficult, but they actually are worth pursuing. So I think Mark Manson talked about this too. Choosing what you're willing to tolerate. So I think in the beginning, especially when starting out with something that you may be passionate about, for example, let's say YouTube, there's so much stuff involved that's going to suck. If you like yapping like us and just like, oh, let me share my thoughts. I love smelling my own farts and hear myself talk. That's literally 5% of it. But is that 5% worth it? So you can go through the 95% of things that you don't really like that much, which is editing, booking guests, all of that, right? I love surfing. I hate paddling against the waves to get out there in the first place to catch a wave. I hate that. It's so exhausting. sometimes I think it's not worth it. I'm like, put a fucking engine on this thing. And so I don't surf because of that. But I know that I would love it. So either way, whether you find your thing or not, it's not always going to be great. It's not going to feel like a vacation. It's not going to be effortless. In fact, you still need discipline and you still need to push yourself at times. I think the goal as well is that over time, you increase the percentage of things you enjoy and you decrease the percentage of things you don't enjoy that involve that, right? So, right now I may do the editing of the podcast. I don't want to do that. We'll be delegating that. Same thing with other things, right? So next misconception that I don't want to do that. We'll be delegating that. Same thing with other things, right? So
Delegating.
Delegating.
next misconception, I don't want to do that. We'll be delegating that. So, right now I may do the editing of the podcast. I don't want to do that. Involve that. Increase the percentage of things you enjoy and you decrease the percentage of things you don't enjoy that involve that, right? So, right now I may do the editing of the podcast. I don't want to do that. We'll be delegating that. Same thing with other things, right? So next misconception that I think are holding so many people back is that passions need to be productive. They need to make money. And so many people stop themselves in their tracks because they're like, oh, I can't make money with that. I can't make money with jerking off.
Actually, you can make money with jerking.
Meanwhile, I keep getting ads for sperm donors. I posted about this on Instagram. I just keep getting ads. Oh, like really funny memes that are like finishing solo versus finishing in a cup for $1,400 a month.
Yeah. That I don't know if you know this. I recently found out how the algorithms work. They recommend things that we're already clicking on. I don't know, something for you to look into.
Maybe I did fill out a form, but that's as far as I got. Anyways, jokes aside, so many people, they're into video games. They're into, I don't know, listening to podcasts, maybe anyone here listening, I don't know. Or they're into comic books. And they just think, oh, that doesn't count because that doesn't make money. Meanwhile, people are making money with that. And it's usually a field that encompasses so many opportunities. Like if you love sport.
And compass là kiểu được dẫn tới à.
Usually a field that encompasses so many
Bao gồm
Encompasses.
encompasses. Encompasses.
opportunities. Oh, that doesn't count because that doesn't make money. Meanwhile, people are making money with that. And it's usually a field that encompasses so many opportunities. Like if you love sports, it's not the only way to be an athlete that you can be involved in sports. There are hundreds of different jobs. Could be in media, there's dozens of sub jobs in there, could be in management, could be in constructing the stadium, could be in event coordination, could be in so many things, right? And so people just cut themselves short, but they're like, oh, that's not really a real thing. And again, bringing it back, the sauce from Mark Manson, I think he has some really good thoughts on this topic. It's right there in front of you. You're just avoiding it. For whatever reason, you're avoiding it. You're telling yourself, oh, well, I love comic books, but that doesn't count. You can't make money with comic books. No, let it sit. And I think at the root of this is a problem that I want to touch on later. But first, let's get the misconceptions out of the way so we can clear our minds of those. Then talk about what's actually at the root of the problem, and then how to actually do it. What's the actual how-to on how you can get more clarity on your passion, your superpowers, and what makes you a good utility to the society, because that's what life is all about.
Being useful.
Being useful. Next misconception. Passions are something tangible and they're obvious things. Like I think people think way too surface level, like painting, singing, building a business. Or they think in terms of topics, like, oh, I like sports, I like cars, I like marketing.
I think I watched this video before. I really I've already watched this video before, this short person. Let's see if this video compasses the meaning of, uh, I don't know, the idea of the video that I watch. Well, this one gonna take me long enough, and it just not have more information. I don't know. Let's go.
Marketing. What I touched on in the video is that it's usually something much deeper beneath the surface, right? It's not just that you like selling, you like communicating different perspectives or persuading someone of a different psychology. It could be, even with psychology, like what about psychology? It's understanding how humans work. That's a deep psychology. You like communicating different perspectives or persuading someone of a different the surface, right? It's not just that you like selling, you like communicating different perspectives or persuading someone of a different psychology. It could be, even with psychology, like what about psychology? It's understanding how humans work. That's a deeper thing. That's a layer deeper, right? And so while you might think you like comic books, you may actually like the storytelling that empowers people to see a strength that they didn't see before. There's so many ways to do that. Like my barber, for example, he told me, I was like, what do you love about, like I was doing research for this pod. I was like, what do you love about being a barber? And he's like, man, it's just, I know how good I feel when I get a good haircut. And I just love making people feel that way. So what do you think, how many ways can you do that? It's not just by cutting someone's hair. It's also by, like, he could work with kids who are disabled and make their day, or he could, anything that develops that feeling in people, right? And so same thing with, oh, okay, I like eating, I like restaurants. Maybe you don't like just eating at restaurants. Maybe you like the attention to detail that makes the simple things in life extraordinary, right? Or you love bringing people together because you have dinner with friends. And maybe you don't like just watching documentaries because, oh, I like documentaries, it's my passion, but you like communicating ideas that expand people's minds. And there's so many ways to do that, right? And so going deeper, not just surface level. And and I think it's also good to distinguish between three types.
I love a psychologist. I know how to word and what then? I'm gonna go out and tell people how they react to my Hamlet rank.
Of components when it comes to finding. Yeah, and I think it's also good to distinguish between three types of components when it comes to finding your path or your passion, whatever you want to call it. We're using so many terms, it doesn't matter. Three components. Number one, there's a topic. A lot of people think about just that in terms of passion. So what are you passionate about? Oh, I'm passionate about golf, about cars, music, basketball, data, whatever. I think that's one way to look at it. Like, okay, I like going to the gym. Okay, then maybe start a clothing brand for gyms or become a personal trainer, or maybe, like, there's so many things you can do. That's where I think the next thing comes in, which is the next component, which is activities. Because each topic requires certain activities or tasks that you do, types of tasks. And that's basically what you do day to day. Could be writing, could be networking, brainstorming, spreading some sheets in Excel, whatever. Like, people are different. The question there is just like what comes naturally to you, and we'll dive deeper into that and how to figure that out. But there's just some activities, to me, I don't want to do them. Like planning my that out. But there's just some, like, people are different. The question there is just like what comes naturally to you, and we'll dive deeper into that and how to figure that out. But there's just question there is just like what comes naturally to forming, spreading some sheets in Excel, whatever. Like, people are different. The question there is just like what comes naturally to you, and we'll dive deeper into that and how to figure that out. But there's just some activities, to me, I don't want to do them. Like planning my birthday.
We not even finished the video. I've been yapping too much. Shit. Well, I think that's the video for another day. Yeah, that's it for today. Let's see you guys in